we start with a time of contemplative reflection on the handout that we have been given. And during that time of contemplative reflection, it's not finding answers. Oh yeah, she should have done that, or she should have done that, or he should have done this, or... No, it's just noting the movements in myself. Movements meaning, oh, I can identify with what's happening here, or I'm feeling uncomfortable by the way that was responded to or reacted to. And in that time of contemplative silence, it gives me some clues as to how I might then bring up issues with the supervisee who is presenting, and I can say, oh no, that's reminded me, because we all have emotional memories, that's reminded me of an incident that happened some years ago that had nothing to do with my ministry, but it's unresolved for me, and that might be something I can take to spiritual direction for that matter. But so after that time of contemplative silence, we then begin the conversation, and the conversation goes on where we are helping the supervisee to identify their inner movements. And again, it may be something of their experience that's surfaced from the past, because we take this contemplative discerning approach, the key or the core process is not about advice giving. Oh, you should have said this, and if you do that next time, say this and say no, because that's where it comes back to self-trust. It might be very good advice, but if I really don't know where it's coming from in myself, I'm going to get tripped up again. So sometimes, when some people can identify with the issue, there might be some advice, but it's not the key process. It's not the key focus to be advice giving. It's becoming more and more and more articulate with the being that I am. What are my strengths? What are my vulnerable spots? What are the false messages I can listen to? And again, who God and I are for each other, that important relationship. In the second hour, issues that might have cropped up in what has been presented by the supervisee, again, we wait for about 5 minutes and then open it up. So it's open agenda, and let's talk about anything that people need to, instead of waiting, say, 4, 5, 6 weeks, months often, they've got the opportunity now to present it now in the second hour.
Yes, supervision is certainly contemplative. That's a very important aspect of it, as Sue has described. But there's also simply the practical side of it. I'm stuck in the situation. I don't know how to approach it. What is the way through this? And yes, there is the element of, oh well, in my parish we did this and that, and which can be helpful, but you have to be careful obviously how it's presented as this is the best way to do it. But what the supervisor can help, and the group can help the supervisor do then, is say, well, what's the system? How do things work in your parish? Who are the key people, so that the person is given some tools to go back and say, well, I'm not struggling with this by myself. I can actually get someone on side, or I know the right person to talk to who can manage that for me. So there's also a practical element of how can I do my job better in the system that exists in the parish.